The Power of Silence, the Untold Story. A rainy evening brought three strangers to a small cafe tucked away in the heart of the city. The dim light reflected off the wet streets, and inside the cafe, three men sat at separate corners, unaware that fate had woven their paths together. Ryan, a marketing professional, was struggling with burnout and dissatisfaction at work. Arjun, a talented musician, had just faced the heartbreak of a failed relationship. David, an engineer, found himself drowning under the weight of mental stress, guilt, and an overwhelming sense of failure. Each was battling his own demons, clinging to the threads of hope while slowly unraveling under the pressures of life. What none of them knew was that they were about to encounter something profound, something that would change their lives forever. The three young men found themselves seated next to each other when the cafe's Wi-Fi went down, forcing everyone to disconnect from their phones. As minutes stretched into silence, they began exchanging casual greetings, which slowly blossomed into conversations about their struggles. Ryan spoke of his toxic office environment and how he felt stuck in a thankless job. Arjun admitted his heartbreak and the emptiness he carried after his girlfriend left him, saying, "Music feels like noise to me now." David, the most reluctant to speak, confessed how mental stress was devouring him. He felt trapped in a loop of expectations, responsibilities, and failures. What started as small talk turned into an impromptu therapy session. They didn't realize it yet, but this encounter was the first sign that they needed each other to heal. As the cafe neared closing time, an elderly man sitting quietly at a nearby table approached them. His eyes were calm but knowing, as though he could see right through their souls. "I overheard your conversation," the old man said softly. "I know what you are looking for." Ryan, Arjun, and David exchanged puzzled glances. "I was once where you are now," the man continued. "But I discovered something that changed everything for me: the power of silence. If you want to free yourselves, meet me tomorrow at sunrise, near the abandoned park at Willow Hill." Before they could ask any questions, the man disappeared into the rainy night, leaving behind only an air of mystery and curiosity. Intrigued and desperate for answers, the three young men met at Willow Hill the next morning. They were greeted by the same old man, who motioned them to follow him deep into the quiet park. He led them to a secluded spot surrounded by towering trees. "No talking from here on," the old man whispered. "I will teach you the art of silence, and in silence, you will find answers." The three men were skeptical but willing to try. For hours, they sat in silence, watching the morning mist drift over the grass. At first, the silence was uncomfortable. They fidgeted, their minds filled with noise: work problems, heartbreak, failures, regrets. But then, something extraordinary began to happen. As the hours passed, their thoughts started to settle, like leaves falling onto a still pond. Ryan was the first to confront his inner struggles in the quiet space. He realized how much of his frustration came not from his job but from his own need for external validation. The silence helped him see that he had been chasing recognition, instead of finding fulfillment within himself. For Arjun, the silence felt like a mirror to his soul. It revealed that his heartbreak wasn't just about losing someone, it was about the expectations he had placed on love. He realized that he had tried to fill his emptiness with relationships instead of learning to be at peace with himself. David experienced the hardest journey. In silence, he confronted years of guilt and unresolved emotions. He realized how much pressure he had put on himself to meet societal expectations, neglecting his mental well-being. He learned that it was okay to not be perfect. Over the next few days, they continued their silent practice with the old man. In silence, they began noticing the world around them, the sound of birds, the rhythm of their breathing, the beauty of small things. They also noticed changes within themselves. Ryan became more patient and less anxious about work. Arjun found joy in small musical notes, rekindling his love for music without expectations. David slowly embraced vulnerability, understanding that it was not weakness but strength. The old man guided them through their journey, only speaking when necessary. In silence, we discover what truly matters, he said one day. The noise outside is nothing compared to the noise within. If you learn to quiet your mind, you will master your life. One morning, the old man gave them their final task. Return to your lives, but carry the silence within you. Face your challenges, not with words, but with the calm mind you have cultivated. Ryan, Arjun, and David knew this was the ultimate test. They returned to their routines, but something was different now. Ryan no longer sought validation from his boss. He focused on doing his best, without worrying about recognition. His calm demeanor soon earned him the respect he had always craved this time, without asking for it. Arjun returned to his music with a new sense of freedom. He composed songs not for others but for himself. His authenticity resonated with people, and soon, his music gained recognition. David began prioritizing his mental health. He opened up to friends and family about his struggles and found comfort in their support. He also sought professional help, realizing that healing was a journey, not a destination. Months later, the three friends reunited at the same cafe where their journey began. This time, they were different men, not just because their circumstances had improved, but because they had changed from within. The old man's lesson echoed in their minds: the power of silence is not just the absence of words, but the presence of peace. They sat quietly for a moment, sipping their coffee, grateful for the lessons learned. In silence, they had found their way back to themselves. The biggest lesson the three men learned was that peace begins within. No matter how chaotic life seemed, they now knew that silence was their greatest ally. In a world that constantly demanded their attention, they had discovered the secret to happiness: learning to listen to themselves first. They realized that communication wasn't just about talking, it was also about listening, especially to the whispers of their own hearts. As the three friends walked out of the cafe, the world felt different. They knew that challenges would come, but they also knew how to face them with a calm mind and an open heart. And in that moment of quiet understanding, they smiled. Because now, they understood the true power of silence, the power to heal, transform, and set them free. Thank you for watching. If you like this story, please like, share and subscribe.